Hello everyone and welcome to Natural Grocers Nutrition Education presentation. Today we are pleased to introduce Molly Luzbetak. She is Special Project Coordinator with Healthy Harvest of North Iowa. Molly is going to talk to us today about the importance of eating local and then do a small presentation on making beeswax wraps. Thank you and welcome, Molly.
Hi Janine, thank you for having me.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about how to be a locavore. So I am the Special Projects Coordinator with Healthy Harvest of North Iowa. I help develop the North Iowa Local Food Guide, Curbside Market, and Seasonal Recipe Database. I love to cook, and I spent the last 2 years farming in Northern Virginia. Healthy Harvest of North Iowa works to connect and educate in support of the local food system. We believe that local food is a key ingredient for healthy people and productive communities. Although we are based in North Iowa, the tips that I'll be sharing today can be applied anywhere you live. So what is a locavore? A locavore is a person whose diet consists only or principally of locally grown or produced food. Our definition of a locavore is someone who eats food grown locally whenever possible. And those are the key words, whenever possible. It is rare and challenging that someone would be able to find everything they wanted to eat right in their local communities. No one will have a perfect locavore diet, but what matters the most is eating local whenever you can. In many communities, it is possible to find local vegetables, fruits, honey, jam, meat, dairy, baked goods, and soap. Incorporating these local products are a great way to jump into the locavore lifestyle. In this presentation, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to eat locally. Our first tip is to join a CSA. CSAs stand for Community Supported Agriculture. These are often weekly or bi-weekly boxes full of produce, usually May through October. Many different models of CSAs exist. Some deliver directly to your house, some to a drop-off location, and some you have to pick up on the farm. Sometimes you can even choose what produce you want in your box. CSAs are especially great for people who don't have time or space for a garden of their own, but who love incorporating fresh produce into their diets. It's also great for people who can't make it to a farmer's market. CSAs guarantee that the farmer has enough financial backing to meet harvest demands, while it also guarantees that the customers receive fresh produce every week. Some CSAs even have additional add-ons such as meat, honey, baked goods, cheese, or even other handmade goods. CSAs are also a great opportunity to practice preserving produce. Freezing, canning, and dehydrating produce are all ways to extend your produce life. CSAs have been filling very quickly in the past year as people are becoming more concerned about where their food comes from and want a reliable source of fresh produce. The first link on this slide is to the USDA's Local Food Directories page. They actually have 4 searchable directories, one for CSAs, one for farmers markets, one for food hubs, and one for on-farm markets. It's not fully comprehensive, but there are thousands of local food listings. This image here is an example of a weekly CSA box we have from a CSA here in North Iowa. Our second tip is to shop your local farmers market. Farmers markets are a great way to add local food into your diet and also to connect and talk with the people who are growing that food. Not only can you pick up fresh vegetables at the farmers market, but many markets also offer freshly baked goods, honey, soaps, floral arrangements, refreshments, crafts, kids' activities, and even meat. If you're already part of a CSA, use the farmers market to pick up any extra produce that you didn't receive in your box that week. A lot of markets are now offering a curbside pickup option, so it's now even easier to pick up your fresh local food. You can use this USDA link to find farmers markets near you. Our third tip is to visit a UPick farm or take a farm tour. Many of you may have heard of UPick or Pick Your Own farms. These are farms where you can go pick the produce yourself and then usually pay for it by the pound when you leave. It's great for stocking up on fruit, and you can freeze it so you have fruit year-round. It's a really fun activity to do with friends or family. A few ideas are to go strawberry picking, take a farm tour in midsummer, pick your own aronia berries, or visit a local pumpkin patch in the fall and pick your own pumpkin. Our fourth tip is to order from restaurants that source locally. This is just another way to add locally sourced food into your diet and to continue to support your local farmers and restaurants. Keep an eye out for restaurants near you that source local. Many chefs and restaurant owners now seek to incorporate local food into their menus, as it ensures they know where their food is coming from, and it contributes to reducing the restaurant's overall carbon footprint, as the food has greatly reduced travel miles. It isn't just restaurants where we seek local food. Look for coffee shops, bakeries, breweries, wineries, and more that source locally. Our fifth tip is to shop at grocery stores that source locally. Choose grocers that promote local food purchases. Within the local realm, a common goal of these stores is to enhance community economic development. Some stores, such as natural grocers, try to support local vendors as much as possible. Look around your grocery store for signs that say the name and location of where the product is from, or how many miles it has traveled to be in the store. The fewer travel miles, the better. Tip number 6, learn what's in season. So what is eating seasonally? Seasonal food is produce that is purchased and consumed around the time that it was harvested. Seasonal food is fresher, tastier, and more nutritious than food consumed out of season. Even though we all love to eat strawberries year-round, the best time to eat them is when they can be purchased directly from a local grower shortly after harvest, or even after harvesting them yourselves at a UPick farm. Seasonal fruits and vegetables produced on local farms are often fresher, as they do not require long distances for transport. Also, unlike out-of-season produce, which is harvested early in order to be shipped and distributed to your local retail store, crops picked at their peak of ripeness are also better tasting and full of flavor. What's more, some studies have shown that fruits and vegetables contain more nutrients when allowed to ripen naturally on their parent plant. This is an example of a chart showing what produce is in season and when in North Iowa. It's really handy and definitely something to hang on the fridge and help you with meal planning. This first link on our slide shows you what produce is available during each of the seasons and can help you explore different fruits and vegetables throughout the year. Here, you can click on every product and it will take you to a page that has recipes specific to every product. Great to use for your CSA box. Seasonal produce in your area will vary by growing conditions and the weather, but this is still a great resource. The second link leads you to a website that talks all about seasonal eating. There's even a free seasonal food guide app. By using this app, you'll have all of the seasonality data available to you even when you're without internet connection. Plus, you can even set reminders so you'll never miss your favorite seasonal food again. There are a lot of other helpful websites out there to keep us eating seasonally. So we want you to use the concept of eating seasonally to rethink your meal planning. Use these seasonal eating resources to see what produce is available and to use that to create your weekly meal plans. So here is an example of a weekly meal plan that could be adapted to any season. For example, on Sundays, if you eat meat, it's great to roast a chicken or a pork or beef roast, or just something that you can roast and then incorporate into your meals all week. You can also roast a few sheet pans of any veggies you have a lot of, such as carrots, potatoes, turnips, or sweet potatoes, and incorporate those into your meals as well. On Wednesdays, we have a cleanup day, where you use any leftover produce you have. And this doesn't have to be specifically on Wednesdays. In fact, this should be the day before you get your CSA box or the day before you go to the farmer's market. So you can use any leftover produce you have before getting all of your new fresh fruits and vegetables. Tip number 8, use our local recipe database. On our website, we have an interactive recipe database that hosts over 100 recipes featuring local ingredients. It allows you to search by season or ingredient, save recipes and export shopping lists, meal plan, and even learn new cooking techniques. So I'm going to show you our recipe database. Here you can sort all of our recipes by season, or you can sort by product. So if I click on berries, it will take us to all of our recipes that involve berries. Once you click on a recipe, you can see all of the ingredients and instructions. One thing that is really helpful, you can print the recipes, you can pin the recipes, and you can add a recipe to your collection. Any ingredients that you can find locally also have an asterisk. Let's add this recipe to our collection. Once you add it, you can click Go to Collections, and from here, it will show up right on your page. Now it says My Recipes and Shopping Lists. Earlier, I added the basic green salad to my collection, so now I have these too. You can add more recipes or remove items, and then you can create your shopping list. So one great thing about the shopping list is that it separates products you can get at the farmer's market with products that you'll get at the grocery store or that you might already have in your pantry. You can even print your shopping list. So this is a resource that you can use anywhere if you have CSA produce that you don't know what recipes to use it for, if you have products that you've maybe never cooked with before and you want some recipe inspiration, we want you to be able to check out our website. So follow this link and you will be able to see our recipe database. And now a bit of local DIY. I am going to show you guys how to make your very own beeswax wraps. So benefits of using beeswax wraps are that they are reusable. You can keep using them until they become very dry or they don't hold their shape anymore. So one great thing about beeswax wraps is that they replace single-use plastic. So when you're using these wraps, you're going to use a lot less saran wrap, you're going to use less Ziplocs, and just less single-use plastic. They are biodegradable because all they're made out of is 100% cotton and beeswax. They are unique. You can use whatever fabric you want. You can do it for holidays. You can do it Disney or Pixar for kids. And they make great gifts, so you can really use whatever fabric, whatever designs, whatever sizes that you want. They are also very easy to clean. All you have to do is with cool or cold water, not hot because it might melt the wax, just wash your beeswax wraps with cold water and soap and let it air dry. So before I jump into the tutorial, I just wanted to say thank you guys for listening. And if you have any questions, you can email me at molly@healthyharvestni.com. Thank you. Hey everybody. So let's get started making our beeswax wraps. A couple things you're going to need today. First of all, you're going to need a baking sheet with parchment paper. You're going to need your beeswax, and you can buy this at the natural grocery store. You might also be able to find it from where you buy your honey or your local beekeepers or another local store. You are going to need a type of grater, and we're going to be using the largest holes on the grater. If you think you're going to be doing this project a lot, I recommend buying a cheap grater at a thrift store specifically for this project, because if you're using your normal grater, the beeswax can be pretty tough to wash off. You're also going to need some 100% cotton fabric scraps. So today I am making 1 small wrap and 2 medium wraps. And it is optional, but you can also use a pair of pinking shears to create the serrated edge on the fabric to prevent fraying. And that is all we need today. So we're going to start by preheating our oven to its lowest setting. Mine is 170, so yours is probably somewhere around there. And then I'm going to zoom in and show you how to grate the wax. So as you can see, I've laid out my scraps of fabric on the parchment paper, and now all we have to do is grate the wax. So you're going to want a hard surface under your grater, and I like also having parchment paper underneath mine to catch all the wax shavings. And then, just using the largest holes, we are going to grate. So as you can see, it comes off in pretty fine wax shavings, which is great for these beeswax wraps, and it's pretty easy to shave. So once you get those, we're going to sprinkle them on our fabric, and we want a good layer on each piece of fabric. We also want to make sure it gets to all the corners and edges so that when it melts, it can spread evenly across the fabric. So this looks like a pretty good layer of wax on mine. I already did my other two, so these are ready to go into the oven, and what we are going to do is put them in for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we will check if all the wax has melted. So after 10 minutes, you're going to check on your wraps in the oven. If you still see any chunks of wax, leave it in for another minute or so until you see that everything has melted. Once it has melted, you're going to carefully remove the pan from the oven and hang your beeswax wraps from a wire hanger with some clothespins so that they dry flat. And once they're dry, that's it. You've made your beeswax wraps. So just to show you a couple uses for them, for our smaller beeswax wrap, I would probably use it on a cup or a mug. And what you do, you actually use your body heat, use the heat in your hands to make the seal. It softens the beeswax wraps, and then it can stick to whatever you are covering. And for this medium-sized one, I would probably use it on a bowl. You do the same thing. Use the heat from your hands to create that seal. And there you have it. These are your very own beeswax wraps.
Okay, thank you so much, Molly, and thank you everyone for attending. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel, and please watch out for more nutrition education presentations from Natural Grocers. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you everyone for listening, and have a good night.